Hey everyone, welcome back to the Danger Planet. I'm Sam, and today I'm joined again by
Doug
and Brandon.
And today we're going to be giving you part 2 of our spicy hot take on Gaining Grounds 3. Last time we talked about the strategies and the little rules changes. And today we're going to be talking about all those delicious new schemes, the old schemes that have changed a little bit, and the old schemes that have stayed the same but are in a totally new context. So we're going to be giving you the full detail on all the new elements of Gaining Grounds 3 that will hopefully help you capture the top spot in your local tournament or just beat the hell out of your friends. So everyone, now we're going to talk about schemes. Now, before we start, 3 of the schemes are returning schemes that are exactly the same. That is Scheme 1, Breakthrough, Scheme 3, Assassinate, and Scheme 8, Spread Them Out. Those schemes are exactly the same as they used to be. And frankly, I think that's fine. Spread Them Out was not taken that often, but the other 2 were taken pretty frequently. They were pretty well balanced. There were matchups where they were good. There were matchups where they were terrible. There were crews that were good at them. There were crews that were bad at them. They had a pretty good spread where you would take them in the appropriate situation and not in an inappropriate situation. So I feel pretty good about those 3 coming back.
Yeah, and I think having just an evergreen killie scheme, a murder scheme, a schemey scheme, and then a fast movement scheme, I think that's fine.
There's also 3 schemes that return, but with some changes. So that's Vendetta, Hidden Martyrs, and Catch and Release. Now, those 3 schemes are basically the same as they used to be, but with one enormously significant difference. Your chosen friendly model cannot have been replaced with a model of higher cost. Once that happens, it is no longer eligible to score at all. That's pretty significant because people would do things like take Leviticus and declare an amalgam and then turn it into a desolation engine. And now you have a desolation engine hidden martyr. Or now you are trying to, get it, like have a desolation engine score a vendetta on some poor, like 5-stone enemy model.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. Or I'll name my snake. And now my snake is actually a Malifaux Rex,
So those 3 schemes, you can't replace with a model of higher cost. I think that's completely fair and reasonable. It just makes them function better. But the other change to those that is significant is all 3 of those schemes require you to secretly pick a model. And now remember, you secretly pick your model after deployment, after you've seen your opponent's deployment. I think that makes those schemes a bit more playable because it gives you more flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had so many games where either myself or an opponent has taken a vendetta target, and then just literally after deployment and turn 1, it was a incredibly difficult scheme to score, and I think this really helps alleviate those types of scenarios and incentivizes at least me to look a lot closer at these on a consistent basis.
I would also say I'm very pleased with the fact that they did not fix Vendetta, so you can't pick one of the Nexus kids as your Vendetta model. You still can do that. It's fun. It actually feels good to do.
As the Nexus 2 player.
Yeah,
it was literally borrowing my painted Nexus.
Well, only until mine's painted.
Which is for never.
Yeah. Hey,
so here's my question.
We know you're slow, Sam.
Yeah. So here's my question. The wording that they chose to use hasn't been replaced with a model of higher cost. Now, yes. I know Mold of the Other, you can choose your option and then you could maybe do some weird parallel move shit. But is there actually anything that's relevantly replaced that's not just replaced with a model?
I think it's future proofing.
Do we think this is future proofing? Because I looked through real quick. I couldn't find anything that really. I know like Carifi Duet. That's like a really really dumb one that shouldn't be allowed to do. But yeah. So
it's just cleaning it up. I think in future proofing.
Yeah, and tell us down in the comments below if there's any cool replacey stuff that we missed.
All right, so let's talk about the new schemes. Now, these aren't all totally brand new. Some of you may know them from previous Gaining Grounds, but some of you may not. So we're just going to go through them. Leave your mark. At the end of the turn, if you have a friendly scheme marker within 1 inch of the center point and the opposing player does not, you can remove the scheme marker to score a point. At the end of the game, if you have 3 or more scheme markers within 4 inches of the center point, you may remove them to score a victory point. This is kind of replacing Claim Jump in a way. It's all about controlling the middle of the board. Mm-hmm. But Claim Jump was pretty easily denied through activation control. And Claim Jump was also kind of dependent on if you had things like Lead-Lined Coat or just Laugh Off generally. Planted Roots. This does not depend on that, but it does require you to drop a scheme marker, and scheme markers are pretty vulnerable to interact actions or things that remove them. So it's got many of the same features as Claim Jump, rewarding the activation control and so on. But importantly, it also has a very different end game condition where you have to remove scheme markers. I like this a lot. I do think that with the loss of interact actions on strategies, we do want to make people drop scheme markers because we want to make them take the interact action. It's a huge part of the game, and so making schemes make people take interact actions is good.
Yeah. And so the two parts of this are really interesting. I think the reveal is neat because it sort of, I think, to me, incentivizes you to have a 40 or 50 mil model run up and drop a scheme marker directly under them in the center. Because I feel like, especially if they have a 2-inch melee, that's going to be very, very difficult for your opponent to do anything about. And you can maybe broadcast it earlier in the turn instead of just trying to do it as the last action. But the end, to me, seems very difficult. I mean, I coming from Neverborn, which is a crew that doesn't have a lot of, a faction that doesn't have a lot of, like, actual scheme place abilities, at least not in the Masters that I regularly play. Having just a scheme that makes you drop a bunch of markers near each other can be difficult at times, especially now that they all have to be within 4 inches of a center point, which I think that maybe I'm over evaluating the math on this, but I think that that's going to be sort of tricky to do because you sort of have to make a triangle, right?
You can go 4 inches and you can just go 4 inches in each direction. It's not that bad.
Oh, okay. Because you have like a tetra point to do. Yeah. Maybe it's not as bad, but the terrain could make it tricky.
The end game condition on this is control the center of the board.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what, if you control the center of the board, you'll do it easily. If you don't control the center of the board, you will not be able to do it.
Yeah. I think I like this more than Claim Jump. I'm really excited to try this one.
I like it a lot. Sabotage is next. Sabotage is, again, I'm not going to try to draw a clear parallel between the new ones and the old ones, but it is a little bit like Outflank. The idea is that you secretly choose a terrain piece on the opposing player's table half that's not within 4 inches of the center line. In order to reveal it, you need to have 2 or more friendly scheme markers that are each within 2 inches of the chosen terrain piece on the enemy table half and not within 3 inches in line of sight of any enemy model. And if you do that, you remove them both and gain a victory point. And then at the end of the game, if the chosen terrain piece has no enemy scheme markers within 2 inches of it and 1 friendly scheme marker within 2 inches of it, you get the reveal, the end game part. Now, so this one, again, is about placing multiple scheme markers on a specific location on the board. I do like that this interacts with terrain, and it also hopefully will make people be a little bit more thoughtful about terrain, like TOs, placing terrain that's not within 4 inches of the center line that you can place scheme markers near.
Yeah.
I will say, don't pick a piece of destructible terrain.
Oh, no.
You will just lose.
Oh, that's like a meta achievement thing we got to do in the future. Score Sabotage both points off of destructible terrain. Let's go.
That's what we call being a total savage.
That's that's for the Masters tournament.
I am incredibly excited about this because it is a new interaction style for me. I just started playing in GG2, and I love Malifaux. I play a lot of Malifaux, but I've not seen a strategy that incentivizes interaction on the board like this. And also, even if you don't take it, you have to be aware that it's in the pool because you have to be paying attention to opponents acting squirrely around terrain, especially large pieces of terrain that have a lot of height associated with them, where you're like, I bet they are probably taking this. Now I really need to give a crap about what's going on over there, or I'm giving up. I'm giving up points.
I will say, like, large obscuring sort of blocky pieces do make the first half a lot easier to score, but they do make the second half harder to score because you have to basically patrol that terrain piece to make sure that you can sabotage it, which is a weird thought because if it's like a big blocking piece and they just throw a scheme down right at the end of the game on the other side, you're not going to be able to remove it. So
it's also
it's very interesting.
It's a very easy scheme to deny because all that you need to like drop 2 scheme markers and take, multiple AP worth of walk actions to get out there to drop them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All
it
they
makes
have
you
to
pay
do,
attention to for denial.
All they have to do is have a single model walk within 3 inches of one of your scheme markers and deny you.
Or perhaps a fancy hat.
I'm talking about the reveal scheme. The reveal scheme.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. And yes, this is a good one to do with hats.
Oh.
Fancy hat.
So next one we're going to talk about is load 'em up. At the beginning of the game, you secretly choose a type of marker. So this is immediately reminding me of deathbeds. At the end of the turn, if there are 6 or more of the chosen markers on the opposing player's table half, not within 1 inch of each other, gain 1 victory point. At the end of the game, if there are 3 or more of the chosen markers within 3 inches of either leader, you gain 1 victory point. Now, anyone can do this.
Titania. Oh, sorry.
Anyone can do this with scheme markers. I would never recommend doing this with scheme markers. That is a crap load of AP to spend walking and interacting for 1 victory point. Like, holy hell. However, there are models, there are crews that can just instantly score this. Like Zip. Zip can fully score this from 0 with 2 AP.
Yeah, that's wild. I love Zip in Load 'em Up and Titania.
Zip. This is like the easiest scheme possible for Zip to score.
Yeah.
Now, 6 is a lot of markers. So you really need to like plan for this. And I think that it's probably not necessary to completely deform your crew building to plan for this, but there are some crews that just like this being in the pool incentivizes you to take them. Like Mawtucket is one. I would say Cadmus is one because you can drop a ton of webs if you know what you're doing. It's more Cadmus 1, but even Cadmus 2, you've got the Archivist and you've got the Night Silk Creeper. So that's 2 webs per turn with your crew. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not. They are destructible though. That seems a little risky.
Yes, it's definitely
outside of Cadmus 1.
Titania's great.
Yeah, Titania's great. Yeah, Titania, Hoffman, anybody that does markers that are like not a corpse scrap or scheme that are not destructible. So Titania, I mean Bass, but he has to like
Pyre markers,
Karis, Sonia. Yeah, there are Reva. There are so many. I'm so excited to do a whole bunch. I'm gonna load them up.
I would love to do tournament pools that has load them up in a Carve a Path pool.
Oh, damn. That would be wild.
Sam, that's crazy talk, Sam.
Well, the idea is that you can then like sort of have people make the decision. Am I going to push the cart towards my opponent's deployment zone to score? Or am I going to sort of smush the cart around on my own board side to get rid of the markers they've been dropping?
I understand. I'm just saying you're a madman.
Well, you knew that.
Oh, man.
All right.
Listen, you knew that going in.
So next up is public demonstration. At the beginning of the game, you secretly choose 3 or more models, each of which costs 7 or less, and combined cost 18 or less. At the end of the turn, if any 2 of the models are within 3 inches in line of sight of an enemy master or henchman of a higher cost, and of course neither of your models has been replaced with a model of higher cost, you gain a victory point. And at the end of the game, if any one of them is within 1 inch of an enemy master or henchman of a higher cost, you gain a victory point. So this is basically super catch and release.
Yeah.
Which is interesting with catch and release still being in the pool. I would never write a pool that had both of these in it. But this is like super duper catch and release. It's very interesting. You get 3 instead of having 1 model that could theoretically die, you have 3, and you only need 2 of them to survive to score the first point, and only 1 of them to survive to score the second point. But and also they only have to be within 3 inches of the enemy master or henchman. Which is pretty cool.
So triple Silurid out of a Zoraida list.
And it's okay if they're engaged.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is that, again, they do have to cost 7 or less, and the model that they're near has to be of higher cost. So I think this is probably, on balance, easier to score than catch and release, but there are some crews that are just very, very good at catch and release because they have extremely like fast, durable minions. Like they have like Torakage, they have like Sabertooth Cerberus, they can leap and are also just really tough. So there are different crews that I think can do catch and release easier, but this is generally just like super catch and release.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on. I mean, catch and release is one of those things where if you have a minion that's designed to be able to do it like a Torakage, it's very low effort. But if you are having to do it like the honest way, the hard working way, it can be difficult.
Yeah, probably don't pick this. I mean,
yeah, really, if Max is trying to do this, it's like botanist or bust.
Yeah.
I will say, by the way, botanists seem great in this GG. They're super good on multiple strats. The strats that require you to like be alive near a model, I generalize a comment, botanists seem very, very good now.
Yeah.
Okay. Set the trap. Set the trap is very neat. At the end of the turn, you may choose any number of friendly scheme markers in play. If there are at least 3 enemy models that are within 2 inches of any of those markers, you can remove all the markers and score a victory point. At the end of the game, if at least 1 enemy master or henchman is within 2 inches of such a scheme marker, or a very friendly scheme marker, and it has half of its maximum health there left, you may remove the marker, or if there's no enemy masters or henchmen in play, you gain a victory point. Now, the thing about this that immediately pops out to me is you can score it with 1 scheme marker.
Yeah, this is like my personal checklist achievement list. I'm going to try and score the first half of this this scheme with 1 marker one day.
This scheme
That's my goal.
Very strongly dictates how you, the player, are able to play if it's in the pool, because it means you can't bubble.
Yeah. I mean, you could theoretically. Well, no, you can't because it's.
Okay, let me put it this way: you can bubble if you have excellent activation control and marker removal.
Yeah. Like, I could see Pandora maybe being able to bubble if your activation control is such that you can go last with Poltergeist. And short of that, I don't know how else I would do it in anything.
Yeah, it's a really cool scheme, and if you are spread, it's interesting to me because how easy or difficult it is to score is almost entirely dependent on what your opponent's crew is and what they've picked, rather than what you've picked and what your crew does.
Yeah, it is very interesting in that regard.
I think that's cool. It's good that there are some schemes like that in the pool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
Yeah.
All right, and then we've got in your face. In your face.
No,
in your face.
No.
At the end of the turn, if an enemy non-leader model of cost 8 or more was killed while within 3 inches of any leader this turn, gain a victory point. At the end of the game, if the highest cost or tied for highest cost non-master model you hired this game is in the opposing player's deployment zone, gain 1 victory point. So this is one that, just like how the last one is all about what your opponent hired, this is all about what you hired. If your leader kills things, oh man, you're gonna have a good time, dude. Like Lady Justice. Oh man,
I'm gonna Nekama the shit out of in your face.
Yeah, Nekama, Lady Justice, like Max 2. Yeah, these the leaders that want to do the killing themselves are
Seamus.
Loving this. But also, you need to be, if you're planning to pick this, you need to be thoughtful. What's the highest cost non-leader you're hiring? Is it something that's playing to survive the game? So I think that, for example, Zip is probably reasonable about this, because the first mate is really slippery and really mobile. And also, if you keep him away from enemy models, he's pretty durable because he's got stealth. So, and he's also going to be, he is usually the highest non-cost, non-master model you hired, although that means you can't hire Mancha Roja. And Mancha Roja is pretty fragile, dies a lot. He's great, but he does die a lot because he's a huge target. So it's a very interesting crew. It requires you to build your crew in a specific way, but you can, like, if your crew is built properly, this is trivial to score.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I'm picturing like a Lady Justice crew where the highest cost non-leader you hired or non-master you hired is like the Pale Rider. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
You're going to score both points.
There's also a lot of room for crews that have like just a lot of good, solid, like high cost minions where you just don't hire a model that costs more than 7, but you have like 4 options for 7 and just fucking run them, heat them down the board, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff you can do with this, Matt, with this scheme. But
yeah, absolutely.
It's a scheme that requires you to be thoughtful during crew building, which I love.
Yeah.
In your face.
In your face. And then finally, we've got Secret Meetup. Now, this is at the beginning of the game, you secretly choose a friendly non-master model, an enemy non-master model, and a terrain piece not within 3 inches of your deployment zone. At the end of the turn, if all the chosen models are within 3 inches of each other and the terrain, gain a victory point. At the end of the game, if there are 2 or more friendly scheme markers in base contact with the chosen terrain piece, gain a victory point. So this one reminds me of the Valentine's Day scheme.
Yeah, it's I was just gonna say that it is such the Valentine's Day scheme.
It's the flavor A+.
Yeah.
Playability,
it's the lover's dilemma for sure.
Pretty not good.
Oh, it's not
good. I do not see myself taking this scheme almost ever. There's just too much stuff that needs to happen, and too many things can go wrong. If your model dies, you can't score the first point. If your opponent's model dies, you can't score the first point. If your opponent doesn't put the model where you want them to be, although remember, you do pick after deployment. Like, this would be just straight up not possible.
Oh no,
if you had to pick before deployment. It's theoretically possible because of deployment, but it's not easy. Like, and your opponent knows it's in the pool, so I would not be excited about this scheme.
Yeah, I can't imagine myself picking this scheme at any point other than when I'm playing against somebody who is much less good at Malifaux than I am, and I am playing Zoraida.
I know the exact time you take this, Brandon. It's in a pool that has both Sabotage and Secret Meetup, and on a table that has destructible pieces of terrain, so that you can just assert absolute
so that I can just beat somebody so hard in Malifaux that that's it. They just, like, I banish them to the shadow dimension.
The shadow realm. No, it's banishing to the shadow realm.
Oh, this is the shadow realm. Sorry.
Correctly.
My bad.
Here's what I'll say about Secret Meetup is that there are 2 strats in this pool that require you to claim markers on the center line by parking models near them. If there's terrain that is on or near the center line, I think you have a reasonable shot at scoring this by saying, like, by noting where your opponent has dropped their models and then picking a piece of terrain that's near one of the strat markers and just letting your opponent move towards that piece of terrain so they can claim that strat marker and moving your own dude in. That said, it's really easy to not be within 3 inches of a piece of terrain, and, like, just don't do it if you know if you had no secret meetups in the pool. This is a really easy scheme to deny and a hard one to score. So I think this one's a miss, but it's the only miss in the pool, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's fun to have a challenge.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, sometimes, I like get drunk before I play a game, so maybe Doug can win it.
Sir.
Wow.
Sir.
That was the spiciest take of the night.
I challenge you, sir.
Yeah, we're gonna play Sunday.
We are.
You're gonna beat me now that I said that. Like
I
it's
will
gonna
tell
happen.
the internet what happened
Nice.
Yeah, we'll
on
tell.
that day.
Cool.
We're gonna play GG3. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah, we are.
Anyways.
Hopefully, it's not as quite a spanking as Brandon gave to me on
This was your
Wednesday.
first game with May, so
Well,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was my first game with Von Stuck, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah,
and
but
I
Von Stuck
literally
basically
just
plays himself.
accidentally picked the best possible crew.
All right.
All right, everyone. That was our second spicy hot take on the new schemes. We hope now you've got a pretty decent picture of what the new Gaining Grounds is going to look like and how you can win all those games that you're going to be playing in it. Please, if you think we got our off base on any of these schemes, let us know. If you really like them, please talk about it in the comments. Leave a like if you like this video and make sure to subscribe. And please join our Discord. The link's in the description, and you'll be able to talk about all the new schemes, Malifaux, Gaining Grounds, hobby stuff generally. It's a great community. We look forward to having you with us.
Can we do them? Can we please, for the love of God, though, do them in alphabetical order?
No,
What?
What?
I'm a
that makes
cashew.
no sense. We're gonna do them in the order they're presented.
Lamb
I will
soda.
defend Zoraida.
Hmm.
End of list. No, it's fine. Get to the chopper.
Hey, everyone. Ooh, okay.
No.
Stop.
Oh. Sam, how are your jimmies? Have they been ruffled?
My jimmies are completely placid.
I don't believe you.
Placid P or flaccid F?
Placid P.
Oh,
My
flaccid.
jimmies
Yeah.
are pretty erect.
Yeah, they're
but
very
placid.
bendy. Yeah, I get it. Oh, hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure that I close my
Followed
Discord
him
window.
up to Does my voice sound silky and smooth?
I don't know. I guess.
Like Professor Pimp gives you the starting Pokemon.
Gotta slay 'em all.
Pokemon.
All right, cool.
I
So let's do
guess.
some outros. Ready? Yeah. No,
So-
I'm not like getting mad. I'm not mad or anything. I'm just trying to
I mean, you
deal with the
sound
realities
you
of life.
sound mad, Sam.
Sam.
I hope you both die
Saw the ghost of Velvet
in your sleep.